Imagine a world painted in gold and lapis lazuli, where a woman's intellect is her sharpest weapon and her charm, a shield. This isn't the story of a mere seductress, a caricature etched by Roman propaganda. This is the story of the last pharaoh of Egypt, a ruler who commanded armies, spoke 9 languages, and held the fate of an empire in her hands. Forget everything you think you know about Cleopatra. We're about to uncover the brilliant strategist, the devoted mother, and the political mastermind hidden behind the myth. This is the real story of Cleopatra VII Philopator. Born into the Ptolemaic dynasty, a Greek lineage ruling Egypt, Cleopatra wasn't even Egyptian by blood. But from a young age, she understood that to rule Egypt, she had to be Egyptian. Unlike her ancestors who clung to their Greek roots, Cleopatra embraced the culture. She learned the Egyptian language, a feat none of her predecessors had bothered with. She participated in ancient religious rites, presenting herself as the reincarnation of the goddess Isis. This wasn't just theatrics, it was a masterclass in political branding. She was showing her people, I am one of you. My destiny is your destiny. Her world was one of brutal family politics. In the Ptolemaic court, siblings were rivals, and thrones were often won through betrayal. Cleopatra was co-ruler with her younger brother, Ptolemy III, but their alliance was fragile. Powerful court eunuchs manipulated the young king, turning him against his brilliant older sister. They saw her intelligence as a threat and exiled her from Alexandria. Did she accept defeat? Not for a second. This is where the legend truly begins. While in exile, she heard that the most powerful man in the world, Julius Caesar, had arrived in Egypt. She knew this was her chance. But how could a banished queen get an audience with the Roman general? The story goes that she had herself smuggled into the palace wrapped in a carpet, or some accounts say a linen sack. Imagine the scene. The bundle is unfurled at Caesar's feet, and out tumbles not treasure, but the young, determined queen herself. It was a bold, audacious move, and it worked. Caesar was captivated not just by her beauty, but by her sheer nerve and intellect. He saw a political player, an equal. Their alliance was both personal and political. With Caesar's military backing, Cleopatra reclaimed her throne. But it was more than just a power play. They had a son, Caesarion, meaning Little Caesar. For Cleopatra, he was the future, a living symbol of a new blended empire, a world where the might of Rome and the wealth of Egypt could unite under their dynasty. She even followed Caesar to Rome, a controversial move that shocked the Roman elite. They saw her as a foreign temptress, a dangerous influence on their leader. But Cleopatra was playing a long game, securing her son's legitimacy and her kingdom's future. Then, disaster struck. The Ides of March, 44 BC. Caesar was assassinated and Rome plunged into civil war. Cleopatra's Roman pillar was gone. She fled back to Egypt, her dreams of a Roman-Egyptian empire in tatters. She had to navigate a treacherous new political landscape, one dominated by Caesar's avengers. Her primary goal was survival, for herself, for her son, and for her kingdom. She watched and waited, rebuilding her strength, knowing that soon a new Roman power would come knocking. That power was Mark Antony. One of Caesar's most loyal generals, he now controlled the eastern half of the Roman world. He summoned Cleopatra to Tarsus to answer questions about her loyalty. She knew this was another audition, another chance to secure her kingdom. But this time, she wouldn't arrive as a desperate exile in a rug. No, she would arrive as a goddess. She sailed up the river Cydnus in a magnificent golden barge with purple sails and silver oars, dressed as Venus, the Roman goddess of love, surrounded by attendants. Antony, who fancied himself the embodiment of the god Dionysus, was completely enchanted. He had come to interrogate a vassal queen. Instead, he found himself dining with a living deity. Their connection was immediate and intense. It was a partnership of equals. Antony needed Egypt's immense wealth to fund his armies, and Cleopatra needed Antony's military might to protect her kingdom and secure her children's inheritance. Together, they ruled the East, carving out a new empire. They had 3 children and lived a famously lavish life in Alexandria. Roman propaganda painted this as a period of debauchery, of Antony being bewitched and emasculated by a foreign queen. The reality was far more complex. They were building a power base, a genuine alternative to Octavian's rule in Rome. They were a political and military powerhouse. The final act was inevitable. In Rome, Caesar's heir Octavian used Cleopatra as a propaganda tool to turn the Roman people against Antony. He painted her as a decadent, power-hungry sorceress who sought to conquer Rome. The final confrontation came at the naval battle of Actium. The details of the battle are debated, but the result was a catastrophic defeat for Cleopatra and Antony. Their fleet was destroyed, and they fled back to Alexandria with the remnants of their forces. Octavian pursued them to Egypt. Antony, receiving a false report of Cleopatra's death, took his own life. The scene of the dying Antony being hoisted up to the monument where Cleopatra had barricaded herself is one of history's most tragic love stories. He died in her arms. With Antony gone and Octavian's army at the gates, Cleopatra knew her options were limited. Octavian intended to parade her through Rome in chains as the ultimate symbol of his victory. She would not grant him that satisfaction. The story of the asp, the venomous snake brought to her in a basket of figs, is iconic. It was a death fit for a pharaoh, a sacred animal of Egyptian royalty, ensuring her passage to the afterlife. In her final moments, she dressed in her finest royal robes, every bit the queen. She died not as a defeated captive, but on her own terms, the last true pharaoh of Egypt. With her death, the Ptolemaic dynasty ended, and Egypt became a province of Rome. So was she a queen or a seductress? The answer is she was both and so much more. The image of the seductress was a creation of her enemies, a political smear campaign that has lasted for 2,000 years. The real Cleopatra was a brilliant, multilingual, and ruthless political operator who used every tool at her disposal, her intellect, her wealth, her charm, and yes, her relationships, to fight for her kingdom's independence in a world dominated by men and the encroaching power of Rome. She ruled for 21 years, a reign longer than many of her male predecessors, and she came closer than anyone to forging a new destiny for the Mediterranean world. Her story isn't just about romance. It's about power, ambition, and the unbreakable will of a queen who refused to be a pawn in anyone's game. Thank you so much for joining us on this journey back in time. If you were fascinated by the real story of Cleopatra, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into history. Let us know in the comments which historical figure you'd like us to explore next. See you in the next video. You in.